Listen to your preferred news feeds with Odiogo.com.
Life after New World Order, globalization, epic fail? I doubt anyone today challenges the notion of an attempted New World Order, a singular organization transcending sovereign rights and borders, a single political entity which brings the world a one-stop governance, a common currency, and even more frightening, universal laws with military-style enforcement. While a single world government concept may hold the promise of benefit to some, it is an entirely foolish aspiration and is bound to fail. The quicker the NWO proponents are dealt with and disposed of, the better. As an experiment, globalization has proven an epic fail, at least for average citizens, perhaps not for the banksters and their elitist masters, sycophant politicians and gouging corporate interests, not yet anyway, but retribution if not restitution is in their near future as the extent of collusion, larceny and embezzlement emerges and is dealt with by the people for the people. In a practical sense, managing anything with people involved, even small things, is an incredible challenge, be it a family, glee club, village or town. Success is invariably measured secondary to failure, a far more prevailing feature in the realm of applying and maintaining management controls to complex situations. As a management situation becomes ever more complex, so do the chances for failure. Managing communities, villages, towns, cities, counties, states, companies and nations becomes a daunting affair, even when populations are supportive of being managed. Therefore, proposing successful management of the entire uncooperative world is nothing short of lunacy. Given a climate of perpetual resistance, it is impossible to see how the entire planet could be managed from a central agency. Throughout history, dynasties and empires have struggled. First to conquer, then rule over expanded territories. Inevitably the inevitable happens and they disappear into the mists of time and the world rights itself. A diverse world is not only interesting, it seems to be the natural state for it. Man attempting to impose their will over it seems doomed to abject failure. There has been much written about a so-called New World Order. It has been spoken about by many over the years, including world leadership and the power elitists. The term New World Order is documented to be first used in a 1926 edition of the Saturday Evening Post by Edward M. House in relation to the Council on Foreign Relations, an organization said to be related to the New World Order conspiracy. George Bush Sr. has also used the phrase in his speech toward a New World Order on September 11, 1990. In any event, the past 50 years has certainly given the impression that movers and shakers within various spheres of global influence have slowly yet surely moved the world towards what became known as globalization rather than a state of New World Order, an expression which has taken on a rather sinister connotation and which is routinely subjected to popular mass castigation when mentioned. Quote, globalization, unquote, globalization or globalization describes the process by which regional economies, societies, and cultures have become integrated through a global network of political ideas through communication, transportation, and trade. The term is most closely associated with the term economic globalization, the integration of national economies into the international economy through trade, foreign direct investment, capital flows, migration, the spread of technology, and military presence. Unquote, assuming globalization and New World Order are interchangeable centralized global management strategies. It seems we reached a point of retraction in 2007 or so. When all things global began to collapse under its own weight within months, the folly of supersized commerce and economy imploded, exploded and evaporated in a virtual flash. Certainly anyone who espoused global management and control lost all credibility when the sheer folly of the concept manifested in the form of monumental global socio-economic meltdown which plunged the citizens of the world into a collective misery never seen before on such a scale. Some 4 years later recovery remains elusive, and in fact many pundits believe, based on the evidence of numbers, that we are far from the collapse finding its true bottom point. And far worse is in front of us. The practical facts of the matter are about a proposed global system which is impossible to sustain, let alone manage at a global level. The world is a dizzying mosaic of cultures, belief systems and preference choices which will not bow to a one-size-fits-all mentality or approach. It is ludicrous to think otherwise. From a situational awareness perspective, no matter where you live on this planet, the real New World Order is emerging from the ashes of failed monumental stupidity born of greed. The new way is not regressive, even though it may seem we are going backwards to a more sensible time. Sometimes when we lose our way, it is sensible to backtrack and reaffirm the correct pathway before proceeding onwards yet again. Armed with a certain knowledge of past mistakes, a new direction offers much improvement over previous unfortunate attempts at progress. While historical conditions may seem somehow less sophisticated, it is well to remember the world has worked well if left to its natural ebb, flow and pace, especially without warring intervention. People know what it is they want. Often it is not that much, often it is centered in an ideal of peaceful coexistence, family cohesiveness, commune attitudes and neighborly spirit. Given an environment to thrive, humanity will. All by itself. Smaller self-contained environments tend to manage themselves and offer great benefit to the immediate contributors. I advocate rejection of any and all attempts to apply universal controls to the inhabitants of this planet. We should speak of the failures of NWO attempts to control and heap derision and contempt upon their fruitless efforts. We should cease acknowledging their attempts to control. We should not reinforce the proponents of global control with the thought that they are progressing toward their selfish, greed-inspired plans. We should do quite the opposite. In fact, it is time to pull down the curtain and understand the wizard within has no power once exposed. The apparent power came from folks ascribing powers to the wizard, when none really existed. We must stop ascribing powers to a shadowy group who feed from such provided energy. It is time to starve them out. It is time for self-sufficiency, self-realization, self-actualization and a return to a natural pace of living. It is time to ignore the globalist. If globalization has failed, it won't be coming back. It will be good to have a decent alternative approach in the wings, one that is beneficial to all, not a privileged few. As the days roll by, even countries are turning inwards, away from the beguiling wizards of greed. Start by paying no attention to that man behind the curtain. They are waking up. They are on to us. At a recent Council on Foreign Relations speech in Montreal, co-founder with David Rockefeller of the Trilateral Commission and regular Bilderberg attendees Zbigniew Brzezinski warned that a global political awakening, in combination with infighting amongst the elite, was threatening to derail the move towards a one-world government. It is time to put the trash out. It is time to go home. Stay tuned.